Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Wake Up Well, my show that is all about inspirational, uplifting, and educational content. So, of course, being an author, I always want to share information about how to get your book out into the world. Because if somebody told me I was going to write a book, I would have told them, I don't know what you're talking about. And yet, when it came to me, I just knew I had to put it in the world. So, if you are someone who is dying to know how to get what's in your head onto some paper and out into the world and into bookstores like Amazon and Barnes and Nobles, then my guest today, we are going to teach you and show you all the ways to do that. So first, let me introduce him. His name is Alex Orellana. He's a director, producer, and a screenwriter from the Midwest who started his career in movies, event production, and entertainment news. And he is also the author of not one, not two, not three, not four, but five books that are available right now on Amazon.com. Alex Orellana, welcome to Wake Up Well. Thank you for waking up well in your DJ booth. I love it.
Oh, yeah, here we go. Anyway, I really am very grateful. See, I got some sound activated lights. Sorry.
Oh,
Grateful
wow.
to
You
be
got
on
it
your
fancy.
show. Pick a color. What do you want? There you go.
I like it. Whatever. You could sort of change it throughout, too. It's like the old clap on, clap off, right?
Exactly.
Love it. Okay, so besides all the things you do, one of the things more recently that you decided to do was put out some books to the world. So, Alex, what was it that inspired you in the first place to put all of these books out into the world?
Well, definitely when they say write a book, write what you know. So I took this book right here. It's called Borderline, and it's about basically my family and how my parents adopted 5 kids from Mexico and all the craziness that happened. So, yeah, I recommend taking the time to write something that's personal first, because that's the hardest thing to do. But then once you do it, it's so gratifying to have it actually as a book.
Was your family okay with you putting all that stuff into a book?
Not really, but that's why it took so long to write, because I was really worried about what people thought.
Yeah.
But then I thought to myself, you know what? It's just important to have this documented and let my parents and my family and sisters and brothers and everybody know that it is a semi-autobiographical book. Some of the things had to be condensed because of time constraints, as well as, just I didn't have all the pieces of the puzzle. I had to interview different relatives and then try to make the best I could from that. So there's definitely some stuff that I had to fill in to make it a story, but
Yeah.
that's okay. And now I think it's been actually getting some really good feedback, so that's great.
Well, what I know is you are somebody, because we have talked about this for many years, that you had this book in your head. You always knew you wanted to write this story, but you just didn't know how to get it out into the world. And then all of a sudden something clicked where you're like, wait a minute, I need to do this now. And what was that clicked for you?
Well, I realized that I was going to be having heart surgery soon, and that was the impetus that actually made me want to go out there and make a book. So I said, you know what, time is ticking. It's not a someday project anymore; it's a today project. And you actually helped me very much. You kind of pointed me in the right direction and told me how to self-publish, and then I went down that rabbit hole and learned even more. And I got over my fear of what it would take to self-publish, because I thought it was going to be harder than it was. But once I learned how to do it and click through all the different prompts and get everything organized, it wasn't that bad.
Yeah, and this is what I wanted people to know and why I wanted to do this show. So let's just walk them through the 3 ways to publish right now. Of course, there's the first way, and that is where you go to a major publisher and you have to send out what it's called a query letter to get an agent to represent it. Now, if you're a celebrity or somebody who's a sports figure, you probably can get your book picked up very easily. If you're Michelle Obama, yeah,
Yep.
you're gonna go to a major publisher. And then your second option is hybrid publishing, which is basically these large publishers and some independent publishers have now started arms of their businesses where they will help you publish your book. They will give you editors, copy editors. They will help you design your cover. They might help you with some marketing, but you pay them in order to get your book out into the world. And they do take a little bit of a royalty. And then there's the third way of publishing, and that is, of course, self-publishing. So walk us through a little bit of self-publishing and what that is.
Well, the reason why I love self-publishing is you are in the driver's seat. So yeah, it's definitely a little bit scarier because you don't have people doing your graphic design for your cover. You don't have people editing your book. But then at the same time, you don't have to share any of that with anyone. So I go to bed, I look at my numbers on my back end of Amazon, And then when I wake up, I love that while I'm sleeping, I'm making money. It's passive income. And yeah, I don't definitely maybe have the marketing budget that maybe a publisher may have, but at the same time, it's me and my success is from me. Now, what's great about it is you can learn how to make all these books and then later go the other route because you'll have actually a body of work that a publisher would be interested in seeing. So you have a track record, so it's easier for them to sell things down the road.
Yeah, and truthfully, what I ended up finding out from a lot of people that I know in Hollywood who have put books out into the world is that the publishing agencies, they help you in the beginning and they set up marketing and they'll do book tours. But then once that's over with, then you're back to kind of being on your own promoting your book anyway. So that made me
Mhm.
think like, okay, well maybe I can figure out how to self-publish. So I went down the rabbit hole as you did to figure out, well, how do I do this? So I simply, just to give some advice to people who are thinking about self-publishing, I really created my own team. I just figured, okay, well, what are the publishers and the hybrid publishers going to give to me? Well, they're going to give me a book editor, they're going to give me a cover designer, they're going to give me some marketing. One of the things I didn't know about was you needed someone to format your book for you. So I was like, okay, well, let me go out and figure out where to find all these people. But are you someone who did all of that yourself, or did you find people as well?
I originally wanted to find people, but I was limited by the resources I had. But luckily, I'm good at Photoshop and I'm good at formatting and I'm good at marketing. So all the skills that I had already had, I used for marketing my books.
Yeah, I mean, if you're someone who can put it all together, especially if you're somebody who, I know a lot of people who have books that they want to write about their families that they don't need to make $1 million. They just really want to get it out into the world. And if that's the type of book that you're putting, then this is really the perfect way to do it because you can get it out there quickly and you can tell it your way without somebody changing your words and wanting to make it different. But you not only did one book, once you decided you were going to self publish and do all the things that you're going to do, you did, I think, 5 books, correct?
Yeah, 5 major books, and then I did a bunch of smaller books that were more bite sized. But it's really fun. Like I'll show you right here. So we already talked about Borderline as one of the books, but then the sequel is a pandemic called Fear is Contagious, a pandemic genre. So all the characters from the first movie are put into this crazy situation that is an exaggerated version of what I think is going on in real life with the characters in my family. And then I have this one, which is called The Infinity Cup Heist. And this is a hockey heist movie about the stealing of a trophy similar to the Stanley Cup. And then I have this other book called Paparazzi, which is based off of a real life paparazzi photographer who taught me how to literally break into Hollywood. And it's about him versus a Hollywood celebrity and how they clash. And then finally, I've got this really fun book series, which is based off of my TV show, which is called The Vault, which is right here, and where we interview people who are top in business, sports, entertainment. So specifically, we've got everyone from, oh, I guess I grabbed 2 of the same one, but here we go. We've got Evan Carmichael, who's a business industry leader. We've got, Carl O'Reilly, who's a Michael Jackson lookalike. And then I even have a WWE superstar right here. And then finally, my most important book that I've ever put together right here has you on it, Laura Saltman. And
I like
it
that.
talks about your life journey and all the different things that have happened to you that are inspirational. So
I love that. And so you just basically took an interview like we're doing here and you turned them into a small book as well.
yeah, and bite size is really important because statistically, 85% of the people who buy a book only read the first 5 pages. So if you can
Mhm.
give them something really small and you can make the price point affordable, I think
Yeah.
it's really a good way to just get out there. And, I just basically transcribed the interview and then I added just photos too. So, I made some cover art to kind of make the book a little thicker, but that's it. And then
I
even
like
if,
it.
what I was thinking is even if these individual ones don't sell, I can put them all into one book later. So then this becomes just a giant volume of everybody, all the interviews.
Very smart. Okay, so let's walk people through the steps that you went through. So I'm just going to assume that most people want to figure out by this point as they're watching this, like, well, let me figure out how do I self publish. So obviously, the first step then is you actually have to write the book, get what's in your head onto a piece of paper, correct?
Well, actually, what I'd recommend is figure out the story you want to tell and then outline it. Figure out who the characters are, what their journey is going to be, what the conflicts that they're going to overcome, and put that all on paper as an outline. Then just write a rough draft. Get that out of your head so that at least you have the story down. And then pace yourself. Give yourself a schedule of 6 pages a day. And then try to get that next first draft set up. And then have people read it. Give them, a couple days, maybe a week or two for them to give you feedback. And then if there's things that don't make sense because you know in your head how it works, but they don't understand how it works, you can really refine it and then finally get maybe a table read of your friends reading the book out loud or on Zoom now. And then you can also, once again, hear it from a third person perspective and then make your final version.
So step one, write your book. Step two.
Step two is really important because you got to have it formatted the proper way. You can't just have it right in Microsoft Word and hope that it's going to make it sense on a book. So my book is actually formatted differently than most. I'll show it to you real quick. It's in a screenplay format where the characters are talking one by one. So that is a little different, and it's written in a screenwriting program. But then I had to make it into a PDF that was 8 by 5 by 5 by 5. And that took me a little while to learn. So once you learn how to write your book and it's all great, then you got to format it and make sure it fits the dimensions of the book.
Yeah, and I know there's different dimensions that you can make. I think mine ended up in 9 by 6. But then after that, the next step is you have to make sure that it's proofread. You have a copy editor. And depending on where you want to put the book. So if you are someone who wants to sell millions and millions of copies and you want the whole world to read this, I would recommend that you get a copy editor and you pay them. If you're somebody who just wants your family to read it and some friends, you can get away with a proofreader. But one thing I will say is don't rely upon yourself and your fabulous grammar. Always make sure that you send it to somebody, right?
I got a great story for you. So I actually did rely on myself because I didn't, have the resources to have a copy editor. And, there was a couple spelling mistakes or there was actually a character real name in there that my sister called me on the phone and said, you got to get that person out of the book, like right now. And one of the beauties of self-publishing is literally I went into the back end, I took out, the things that were wrong and I made some changes. And like that, every book from then on was then correct. So, I did a beta phase of about 2 to 3 weeks to a month where I had people get the book, but then I didn't publicize it or market it, so I could beta test it that way.
And I also love that you were able to get these books out into the world very quickly, because I know that in regular publishing, I was told when I was sending out query letters to publishers, it would be 18 months to 2 years before the book would get out into the world. And I just had that sense of no. My books need to be in the world now. So if you're someone who really wants it out there now, and I think that this is actually why people are self-publishing more, is because they don't want to do that wait.
The best example I have is this book, this pandemic book that I had. It took me 7 days to write, which is lightning fast. I was surprised how fast I could write it. Day 8 and 9 were proofreading and editing, and by day 10, I already had it published. And then by day 11 or 12, it was already up and ready to be purchased. So, within less than 2 weeks, I pretty much had a book from start to finish be written and then published and distributed. It's pretty amazing.
All right, so obviously now you have your book ready, but you need a cover. So how did you design the covers?
So, I spent a lot of time designing this. And what I do, a little secret of mine, is you design multiple covers. And the reason why is you release this version first, let's say, and then once the demand starts to taper, you then release another version of it. And it worked really well for me. I called it the special edition. If George Lucas can do it, I can do it too. And you can have a different version that has an autograph on it or extra pages or more photos, but definitely a variant cover. And I learned that from the comic book industry. So, they do that all the time and they sell the same comic book 10 times. So just create multiple covers. I think that's just a really cool tip that I wish I would have known.
Stealing that. I like that. Creating a special edition. That's a really good idea. I like that. Okay, and then the last step being that you have to get your books out into the world. So Amazon is one place that you can do it. And then there is also Ingram Spark. So Ingram Spark is one where your books will then be distributed to places like Barnes and Nobles that may or may not pick it up. I believe that on Ingram Spark, they don't have to pick your book up, but they can. So my books ended up on... Right? Yeah, it helps. My books ended up on Walmart.com and Barnes and Nobles and many other places. So, but Amazon is really, if you want to get it up lightning fast, Amazon would be the place. Talk to me about Amazon. What is the process to get your books up on Amazon?
So Amazon makes it pretty easy. At first, I thought it was pretty intimidating, but once I learned it, it was very simple. So all you do is you upload your formatted book, you upload your artwork, and then you decide where you want it to be released in the world, what territory, United States, United Kingdom, you name it. And then from there, you're able to name your price. So I looked at other books that were in the same genre, and I figured out that my price point was $14.99 for a paperback, and then about $4.99 for an ebook. So I decided to make the paperback first in Amazon. I finalized it all. And then from there, I decided to make the ebook and launch that maybe about a month or two after, once sales started going down from the paperback. So Amazon also has a really good back end where you can check and see what is selling and when is it selling. The only complaint I have with Amazon is I can't see who is buying. So if I had my choice, I would be able to see the emails of the people who are ordering my book so I can market to them for the next book.
Yeah, that's one thing that they definitely don't do. But they do, I think they make it very easy, as you said. And that's why I think people are moving towards self-publishing, is because it has been so easy. And if you don't know anything about self-publishing, the reason that it switched to this is now you can get what's called print on demand. So
Oh
back
yeah.
before all the self-publishing, you would have to buy 10,000 books and keep them in your garage and put that money out there, and that was what was one of the limits of self-publishing. Now what you do is they have print on demand, so somebody goes and orders one of Alex's books, and it goes through Amazon gets the order, and then the book is printed and sent out. So that takes away the holding space in your garage, or even the major publishers having tons and tons of stock. So that really is what changed the self-publishing
That's
industry.
huge.
Once you've done all of this, no matter which way you go, whether you go with a regular publisher, a hybrid publisher, or a self-publisher, you have to market your book, and you are a master marketer. It helps, of course, that you're a writer, director, producer, and you've shot commercials and been on red carpets. So you know a lot of people, and you know how to make things compelling. But if you're somebody who maybe doesn't have all of those skills, what are some suggestions for people for marketing their books?
I got a good one. So one thing I say is make your book look like a movie poster. So
Mm.
I did that, and that helped me a lot because I'm trying to make this book into a movie anyway. So I studied movie posters, and that's the genre I want. So all my books have like that look, like a movie poster. And then another thing I'd recommend is think of out of the box stuff. So I did something where I would give people books and then I would ask them to review it. Now, the camera shy people would give me like a paragraph or two sentences of what they thought of the book, and I would put it in a graphic, which I'll give you. And then on my social media, I then just had all these people giving their reviews, but it was all branded consistently. And that was really cool. Another way that I make money is I have a review show. So the people that are not camera shy, I literally just have a conversation like this back and forth about what they thought about the book. And I used to have it where they prepare the interview and then talk to me, but people are lazy. So instead, I ask them the questions. I say, hey, what did you like about the book? What did you think about the characters? Did it resonate with you? What was exciting about the book? What did you not like about the book? Why should someone read this book? All those questions are answered in like a 3-minute video. And then when I post those videos, the next day I make money. Because what's great about, self-publishing is you make the book and then it becomes a passive income revenue stream for yourself. So, I promote it to my audience and I show them actually other people in our community reviewing our book, people that they know. And then I would share that video with them because they know both of us and they trust the review and the reviewer.
I think it's sharing your passion too. All those things that you're talking about are just you being passionate about, like, hey, I want everyone to know the story and to read it. It's just when you're excited about something, people will pick up on that excitement. And so just continue to talk about it, put it out there, make videos, share photos. As many people as you can get to take a picture of your book is
Yep,
important,
that's a
because,
big one.
right, it's a big one. Just asking your friends and family, "Hey, would you take a picture of this book for me?" And just keep getting
With
out there.
holding the book is the most important.
Yeah.
So please, can I get up? This is the shot right. This is the shot you want. Them
Yep.
smiling, holding
Yeah.
your book, and then you can use
Yep.
it any way you want. So
Yep.
that's the beauty of it. And
Yeah.
it's just like hitting them back and forth with 500 people holding that book, and they're like, "Whoa, I need to do that." Another thing that actually I found that sold a lot of books, but it wasn't on purpose, was this particular book in real life was really painful for me to write, and I just wrote that, and I said, "Hey, this book is one I don't want you to read because it's very painful. It says a lot of things about my family that I don't want you to know." And I didn't say it to like psychologically get them to buy it, but that's what happened. And people all of a sudden are like, ding, 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 because they thought, okay, this is like kind of like a banned book that we should read before he just changes his mind and takes it off Amazon.
And that's really authenticity. That's when you're thinking about even writing a book and you're not sure what it is, especially if it's about your life or it's based on your life, it's not complete fiction. It's just sharing your authentic story because nobody has your story. There's no one on the planet who will have your exact story. So it's just being very honest and authentic, and then also being authentic with marketing the book. That's what people pick up upon, because maybe that's a story that they haven't been through, but they can resonate with some of the things that have been on. Or maybe it's a compassion thing where they're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this. Can't believe this happened. And so all of those marketing tools are just you being authentic with what went on in your life or what you've seen in life. And so I'm a big fan of just being very authentic and letting go of that fear. And I think, just to wrap it all up, I really think that the number one stopper for anybody to write and get their book out into the world is just the fear. So you just have
Yep.
to get over that hurdle of fear that, well, am I going to be judged, or I don't know how to do it, or will anybody read it? Like, forget all of that stuff. Just write your book. That's all. And you know what? Some people actually write books and then afterwards they're like, I'm good. Like, I just needed to write it. I don't even need anybody to read it. They just needed to get it outside, their head and put it onto the paper. So it's just really about writing it. What are some sort of unconventional ways that, knowing you are definitely unconventional, that you have used to market the books?
So I love just like graphic design. I love video. So the other day, my daughter's skateboard broke, and I said, you know what? Instead of spending $100 on a skateboard, why don't I make a book cover skateboard? So I actually designed this for a skateboard, and I showed it to my daughter, and I was like, I'm buying this for me. She goes, oh, can I have one too? So she got one too. So it's just like, it's really cool. And now I'm going to hang, 3 or 4 skateboards of all my different books on my wall. So that's for me. But another productivity hack that I have, like I told you, I love to design my books like a movie poster. And I've been walking around different stores, and I was like, oh, there's a lot of like authentic t-shirts that are like novelty t-shirts. So I'm going to make my own. So I basically took my movie posters book and I put a white stroke around it, which is like a white outline, and I just put it on my chest, and I bought a t-shirt. And now when I walk into big meetings and I talk to people, they're like, oh, that's a cool t-shirt. What is that? And I say, oh, that's my book. And it becomes a conversation starter like right away. Like, then we can talk about the book, and once again, if they're interested, they can buy it on Amazon, or I have one in my bag. It's just,
Oh,
it's always,
genius. I am
just right there.
stealing that. That is genius. The idea of putting your covers on a shirt and walking around with it. Stealing it. You will see me doing that. And then also like putting it on social media. So having a picture of you wearing your cover on your shirt and putting that on social media. That's genius. I love it.
While we're talking about social media, I have a really curated social media. So right here, these are different reviews. And then on here, I have book readings where I actually read a chapter of the book. And then I have, this is like the money shot, where I have people posing with my book, which is really important. Like this shot, people, they just, in all different environments, reading the book, but holding it. And I found that helps sell the books.
Okay, so if there are people out there who actually don't know how to do all this and they need some help, you do offer some publishing services. So that is your website, correct?
There it is.
SpyGameStudios.com/book publishing. You can learn all about Alex, what he does, how he can help you, how he can help with marketing and social media. Do you also do cover design? Will you do cover design if somebody doesn't know how to put together
yes,
a cover?
We can do cover design.
Okay.
Really, the only thing we don't really do is help you write the book. Like, that's on
Right.
me. But after that, we help you
all.
just really market the book.
All right, this has been awesome, Alex. Thank you. And I just want to say that I'm in no way knocking hybrid publishing or going to a big publisher. I just am such a fan of self-publishing, and I know you are too. So I just wanted people to really understand that if you have a book to get it out of you and just get it out into the world. The world needs to hear your story. The world needs your advice, and just go for it, right?
I agree. A lot of the stories of this world live in the graveyard, and you don't want your story to die with you. You need to make sure that you tell it to as many people as possible. And self-publishing, I'm the guy for that. I'm all about that because you know what? You don't want to put anyone else in the driver's seat of your dream. So I know Laura won't say that, but I will because I think it's really important you guys get that story out.
All right. Thanks, Alex.
Thank you. Thank you
Okay.
for letting me
Thank
be on
you.
the show. It was very fun.
Yeah, thank you. All right, guys. Thank you for watching. Wake up well.